What's going on, everybody? I hope that you haven't been missing us too much because right now I think things are getting a little bit more intense between our relationship. I gotta say, I don't know how much we can handle this long distance, so let's get a little bit more intimate and close, especially being inside the losers bracket with St. Thomas versus Northeastern University. This could be something quite interesting. Both of these teams not having much when it comes to any form of recovery. They're gonna need to make it better. There is just no day to hate more than a Monday. So I've got to introduce myself. I'm usually Montecore Intel here, joined by Mr. Kongman and Refuse on the production side. Kongman, how are you feeling about today?
Oh, I'm feeling pretty good. Had a nice little long day at work, and it feels good to just come home, sit down in the chair, and just cast some great Overwatch gameplay.
I definitely have to agree, especially because we're looking at two kind of collegiate teams, and they're going to be kind of going up against each other if they want a chance to make it back inside the winner's bracket. And that can be a big issue, I think, for a lot of teams or anyone who's kind of working their way up. But still, I feel that could maybe make this game up to kind of a map 5. How about you? What's kind of your expectations?
I don't know. I mean, I'm taking a quick look at the bracket here, and I noticed that the University of St. Thomas did lose in their round one, and then Northeastern lost in round two. So it seems like that Northeastern has a little bit more experience in the All-Star Brawl esports scenario here. But I mean, honestly, like just taking a quick look at these rosters for the information that we have been given, although it's not much, but we still have some information. I think it's gonna go not quite as far as a map 5. I'm gonna say like map 4.
I can definitely see that Northeastern University has somewhat had kind of struggling times, I think, especially within this losers bracket, though making it this far is no easy sight. Sometimes that can be very hard to get past the first and second game, and so Thomas, they've got a lot to work for and kind of show up, especially only because this is the third match, so they really haven't had much time to work together. This is more of them having to show up and try to show down. I'm very excited, but more than anything, I kind of want to give a small little reminder, or if you didn't know, at the start of each match or kind of at the end of it, there is a vote that you can go to the summary or kind of description of the stream. You can vote for an MVP, meaning that whatever player, no matter winner or loser, they'll get interviewed at the end if they get the victory. And I've got to say, people like Thunder and Neats, you've got some good ideas here.
Yeah, I mean, definitely quite a few people on both sides of the roster are really good. Like you mentioned, you got Thunder. I'm over here looking at Hirsch because I know Hirsch has been in this scenario for quite a few times, but he actually knows how to like perform under pressure.
Man, I've got to say, yeah. Overwatch, I've been saying this as of recently because I think it's just a really important thing that Overwatch is like 1/3 worth of a mental game, kind of mentals, and that's what you're more focusing on whenever you're trying to play. So I wonder how does a player who keeps falling down into the losers bracket still kind of recover mentally? I feel like that's got to be really kind of defeating.
I mean, it's just one of those like you always have to know that like you're always gonna have low points in any career that you have. I mean, like I definitely know that whenever I left the esports scene of Overwatch, that was kind of a low point for me. But then I just knew that like there's always that one point where everything's just gonna work out, and it's just gonna be the best time of your life.
Very good point, I'd have to say, especially just because they haven't been looking, I think, too terrible. I definitely think they have been looking really good, and especially as they continue moving out, they'll only be able to just look better. And kind of something unrelated though, but because we are also streaming Overwatch, make sure I'm pretty sure your account connected so you can unlock those drops. Because I'm pretty sure Twitch still does those Overwatch drops, right?
I believe they do.
Yeah, so you can like unlock of events, kind of stickers and such from the Overwatch event, which is a bit lackluster, but it's obviously something that I think some people like to collect. They just like to have, and that's something I definitely like to have, especially when it comes for Cassidy, the new hero within Overwatch that we've gotten after Echo.
Yeah, I definitely have to say I'm taking a quick look here at the Twitch, and it does say that you can get rewards by watching Star Esports Live play Overwatch. As a
Yeah,
matter of fact, we do have drops enabled on this channel, so make sure you stick around.
absolutely. It's going to be very exciting, especially with the first map starting out on Lijiang Tower. Wanted to give it a little bit more of a second just to kind of talk about because we still have a good bit till these players finally sit down. They're trying to finish out the second movie that, we it was basically a requirement if they wanted to kind of join in on the league. We just made sure that they had to watch Garfield. So either way, being on Lijiang Tower is going to be, I think, one of those maps where doesn't really mean much. I kind of always switch my opinions every now and then of how I feel. I think it really depends on who the team is, where I say, oh, it doesn't matter, and then like, oh, it matters.
Yeah, Lijiang it's just always been kind of that neutral map for me. Either you love it or you hate it, but I'm that one person who's just like, I mean, I don't mind getting it, but if I just have to like constantly play it like over and over, because you know how ranked will just throw a random map at you,
Yeah,
then you start to get a little tiresome of it.
it's absolutely tiresome and it's incredibly frustrating. I think especially to teams who more focus on kind of poke or more divey compositions, it can be incredibly difficult. However, Lijiang Tower, as much as it's debatably more favored towards Brawl, I think recently within the scene, a lot of teams are having a more fun being able to flex, try new things out, especially when they're wanting to just, I guess, have fun or really kind of test out the team, seeing what you can do against them.
Yeah, it's definitely always just one of those kind of like interesting things because we definitely know that, especially on the control center, it's a really good brawl comp. We know that on night market, you can have like dive or a few other good options like Symmetra,
Hmm.
which personal fan favorite, and then gardens. It's usually ball, but that's some difference.
You're not wrong on there, though. I will have to say, just the idea of running a wrecking ball Lijiang Tower sometimes scares me because unless you're on gardens, there's really not much room you're gonna get out of it. Like I already know your team, absolutely goofballs, as I'd like to say. Hee hee hoo. Uh, tend to run out that composition. So, especially because you yourself are a sim player, so I think unconventional compositions is just what you do normally.
Yeah, because I mean, like, there's always the meta of like what's gonna work, what's good. But then it's always good to just throw that monkey wrench in there where you just have this weird composition and you just watch the enemy team literally turn into a monkey, scratch their heads, and go, "Oh, what do we do?"
I mean, you're definitely not wrong on that. I think that's by far something that's really amazing when it comes to defeating your opponents. Because if you can't beat them in a straight mirror match, I think just being able to kind of 1-2 1-2 going up against them, you can definitely take them out in any form of a situation, which a lot of teams kind of can't adapt or really work on. So, especially for Lijiang Tower, I think that's more important to kind of be activating in. But before we really get into the match and such, I kind of want to. Is there anybody you're going to be more paying attention to besides, I guess, specifically of Hirsch? Because Hirsch is a pretty good player and it's been kind of stuck in this area. But is there anyone that, like, by name or just maybe icon that they're having in the lobby right now that you're like, this could be good?
I mean, I'm definitely kind of just taking a quick little peek around, like how you mentioned, like with player icons. So there's definitely two players I'm going to be kind of avoiding because they're Philadelphia Fusion fans. Don't really want to support them that much. I mean,
Okay.
wait, you got a problem?
No, no, no. Continue in. Continue in.
I mean, unfortunately, I'm the only one in here with the Soul Dynasty player icon, which obviously is the best team for those of you who didn't know. I mean, we'll see you next season. Thank you, NYXL, for sending us your entire roster.
It's okay to be like entirely wrong on your opinions. uh just something I want to say. Maybe I'm going to be paying attention to more of Tsunami, maybe even just a little bit more of SCL. I think just being able to play Brawl or really tank lines are going to be more important. I've been giving a lot more love when it comes to main tanks. I think it is still very important to kind of be able to play together and have a good leader if you want any chance of winning inside these fights. So, even though you're absolutely wrong and a hater towards Tsunami, I think that's going to be a player that we're definitely going to have to be looking out for. But either way, when one of these teams win, I think kind of continuing off, the losers bracket right now looks pretty stacked, which is kind of weird. I think we can both debatably say some teams that are kind of down here are kind of head twisters. We're sitting here like, how are teams like Death Computer falling down, Shinigami and such? And obviously, while some of them are gone and not well, it's just going to be more interesting to see. Like, once they win, University has to go up against the winners of the match that we're casting after this, which is Celestial Sky and Cracked Cats, which that could be an issue because they're not teams I think you really want to look down on.
Yeah, I mean, definitely just kind of looking at this entire like losers bracket, winners bracket, and all that. Unfortunately, my prediction back from whenever I casted the GeForce game is no longer accurate because I thought Grand Finals was going to be GeForce but versus Regen. But unfortunately, Regen they kind of got eliminated out of this tournament already by Death Computer. But yeah, just taking a look at everything, like I personally believe this is going to be one of the like hardest brackets anyone has to go through, no matter who you are, because there's just so many good teams here.
Definitely, especially since starting kind of in the first bracket, unlike some teams like Best Buds who really got to start inside the second bracket, means they're playing less games overall. I think you have less stress because you're not playing as much Overwatch, and so infinitely speaking, you're not kind of just drilling your head down like, oh man, gotta continue playing this game. There's gonna be a lot of room for them to kind of just breathe, take a second in. But either way, it's going to be very scary just to see how they move forward because, well, I think a team like Death Computer being inside that losers bracket is still very good. They're not kind of one of the higher rated teams that I would say are within this tournament, but they're still one of those teams that I can definitely say that I enjoy. The only team they really lost to was GeForce, and I think we can both agree GeForce is pretty scary sometimes.
Yeah, because I definitely remember that we both had the honors of casting them in the Will I Be Invitational tournament, and we kind of saw that spawn camp on Junkertown and how devastating that was to the other team. And especially just kind of looking at their current bracket run right now, how they beat Celestial Sky 3-0, then they beat Death Computer 3-0. Now they're going to be going up against Bear Claw Gaming. I definitely have to say, like, I think GeForce has a big opportunity to just sweep this tournament.
Yep, but either way, that's not going to matter now. We can talk about the history and the fates from every team in this tourney, but what matters most is how they're going to be able to put it together. Lijiang Tower, especially on this point, it can be very difficult to push forward, so we're going to have to see what they run and how they run it if they want any chance to kind of secure themselves the lead in the series.
Yeah, and as the heroes are just now revealed to us and we wait for the last 20 seconds of the spawn doors to be opened, we are going to be on Night Market, which is my personal favorite out of the three. And how are you feeling about these team comps that we are being presented at the moment?
Well, I gotta say, Colorcaster, I'm feeling a little bit more mixed feeling. Thunda being on that Sombra does not look very good, especially on that Brawl. It's very similar to the style of Shadow Dive, but less of the mobility. I can still see it work, but more than anything, Hirsch, whoa, Neats being onto those heroes at Northeastern, their composition just looks infinitely stronger for a long-term stability fight. And
Yeah,
so now,
definitely as they just TP to point, they're staying on this sim, so you know how happy I gotta be right now.
yeah, look at that. They're playing inside this kill box. They do get a nice hack, being able to take down Hyuji. Now this is going to struggle as Dan Twist is being able to walk inside, eventually pick off Woa. We do see CSL trying their best to be able to finish off the tank line and everybody in the front, but unfortunately enough, they're split from their own monkey, and they're not really going to have much. Even if their Lucio Timid wants to go back, they've lost that fight.
Yeah, unfortunately that was a very they had a really good start taking that point, but unfortunately the opposing wall, okay, before I can finish my statement, there's already a shatter being thrown out.
It's an early fight. We see CSL getting a lot of value out of it, getting that immortality, the counter shatter going out. However, there wasn't anyone that was really there to get hit, nor of any follow-up. So as they get this capture and as they poke out the Sombra, they immediately get this point back at 19%.
Yeah, definitely, as I was spectating the Symmetra here, he's doing a really good job just focusing Tsunami's shield, which that's just the power of Symmetry. You just look at a shield and suddenly it's just not there anymore.
It's just not always great, as I'd like to say. It is incredibly difficult. So now I'm more curious to see what they're going to be doing to move back in. They do have the ability just to be able to put in that pressure. Hacks are coming up on that coalescence, but this kill box that they're setting up is incredibly difficult to break through. We see that hack come out. It's going to be hitting her, so they feel the confidence to move in, but the window kind of isolating them out for a tiny bit. We see these charges kind of hitting the wall, more of just a thinking brain, but still, that shatter goes out and hits the backline, but still dies in the end. Even with this window and the Doomfist going behind them, there is nothing that they can do. We just see the entirety of the blue side being able to walk forward, shut them down, build up 4 ultimates, and put a smile on their own face.
Yeah, there was a really good shatter coming out from the side of SCL, but unfortunately there just was no follow-up. It just seemed like he just kind of shattered without communication, and his team just kind of stood there and was like, wait a minute, there's a shatter?
Yeah, it became very much an issue. So now they're going to be moving back in. Thomas, though, with the amount of ultimates that they are lacking, it's going to be looking curious. We already see that EMP come out. They managed the combo, and I said lack, and I meant more in style with as they combinate it and even get that cancel out on the Doomfist punch, even forcing out an ability on the side of Northeast.
Yeah, and as we take a look as the teams are kind of resetting here, getting ready for another fight, we are going to be seeing Woe switching over from the Symmetra to the Cassidy. And how do you feel about this swap?
Don't really feel too bad about it. I feel like Cassidy is very much still a good pick when it comes to Overwatch, especially against any form of just quick brawl. So as they're slowly moving in, we're already seeing that Cassidy kind of try to make that space, maybe look for a quick headshot, or really just focus out on as much as you can. This is where they're taking the slow brawl into the corridors, though this coalescence changing the pace, the charges going out, that bomb splitting into the backline of Northeast, while the Shatter combines, managing to find out too. Now at 83%, it seems that they want to focus more on to the tank line who are left to survive, such as Hirsch and Cassidy, but either way, Cassidy's not going to be able to get much done. That bomb drops down on the point, but they're freely going to be able to escape. Hirsch not even going to be able to go back inside their mech to try to respawn. It was just a stall attempt. Either way, they're not going to be able to do anything as we see Thomas, well, they're going to be able to move forward and take the lead.
Yeah, I definitely want to give a big shout out to Noctis there, realizing the Lucio was rolling in, booped him out of the way so he had no time to contest the point. Really big brain coming out of there from him.
Gotta say, I definitely agree too. And out of your own curiosity, what made their composition really work? Was it just the fact that Thunder was doing very well in the Sombra to kind of build up that EMP?
Yeah, I definitely have to agree with that. And Dan was just doing a good job. Like, I don't know if you noticed, but every time a team fight was happening, he was just immediately in the opposing team's backline, and they just had to like either answer it or just go, "Nope, we lose this fight."
So, at least they're going to be switching up their style. They're going to be able to kind of make things a little different, except for Thomas, who are basically just swapping out that Reinhardt for a monkey. This is where CSL gets immediately punished. Just tried the boop, gets hacked, stunned, taken out of the fight. Not much you can do now. The rest of the side from Northeastern, they're wanting to play a little bit more back, a little bit more spread. They want to just wait for their Wrecking Ball to come back to be that engager, which is giving them enough time on the side of Thomas to be able to contest this point. The moment it goes unlocked, it's going in favor of them, but this is still one long kind of poke fight as they're waiting for any opportunity to catch each other off guard.
Yeah, I definitely want to say St. Thomas is doing a really good job because, like, there's SCL who just dove in, and now he's just getting absolutely deleted again. I mean, sure, he gets out with his life this time, and they just turned the fight around, but, like, SUT is doing a really good job making sure, like, focusing their targets.
They're doing an amazing job, Well, just being able to follow up the combination with CSL. They're just able to shut people down, and Naptrad going back inside the spawn room only really got to 19%, and now they have ultimates to kind of start spending.
Yeah, I definitely want to say they did a really good job flipping that point. Only giving up 19% is actually really huge, because if you look at it in the long run, it's really not that much percentage in the King of the Hill map style.
Definitely can agree. Though we see this hack manage to hit out onto the Moira, it doesn't really stop the, pushing in. They even find out Timid, the Brigida, who was just kind of isolated out. Now this dive, they trade on to their own Reaper. However, it seems that the Transcendence is going to be more than enough to be able to kind of long-term sustain and keep them in, using that EMP just to be able to finish things out. That hack onto the support line, not much you can do. The Wrecking Ball just being able to push forward and make that space. So as they move on to the point, it's going to be harder for the side of Thomas to really do much. They're in a very long staggered fight with ultimates, and it seems that they're really wanting to just save them just to be able to win this out on the last second, but losing out Dan Twist's own death boss because they're picked off so early, that's going to hurt, and we're going to have to see what they do in the next fight.
Yeah, Northeastern here doing a really good job just zoning out targets, making sure the healers can't really do much. Needs doing a really good job just making sure like all the health packs are played into their favor, just making sure like that UST can't do much, but here comes a bomb with an EMP.
Yep, they're pushing in. The Sound Barrier being able to save them for a little bit and now give them the room to push forward. No longer scared and even using that Blossom onto the support line. Timid's own rally isn't even enough to be able to long-term sustain. So now, this is where we start to see Northeastern struggle to be up. They've lost the majority of their team. And even that point is going to swap over to Thomas.
Yeah, I definitely want to say that excuse me, Northeastern doing a really good job stalling out that point for the last little bit they had. That was a nice little like 11% gain that they just wouldn't have had normally.
I can definitely agree. Abstract does have this bomb just to be looking for a setup, while CSL has their own mine, so it's a tank ult versus a tank ult in a kind of smaller sense. While Needs comes up, they're throwing it out, looking to catch anybody off guard. However, they weren't even inside the room. So as we see the rest of Thomas just kind of pushing out on top of them, it seems that CSL's own mind is going to be the difference maker, being able to capture two. It's now a very messy fight as we see both remnants of teams just trying to make as much as they can, but Hirsch falling off the map is going to hurt. Thomas now have full control over the point, and they really don't have to worry about much besides from walking into those mines.
Yeah, and of course, as the mines are now being despawned, SCL trying to find anything here for his team, just rolling around like the speed of sound that he does. And it seems like they're just kind of disorganized right now. They don't know if they want to attack left side, right side. Looks like they're going to finally pick an option here and just commit.
Yeah, and, well, they're going to need to. This is last fight scenario. They use that Transcendence just to be able to stop Tsunami's own dive, canceling out, protecting themselves, and the EMP being able to catch them out. It seems that they're not even going to be able to pop out that Sound Barrier. Mine's now placed in the middle of them. Sure, that Death Blossom, beautiful to be able to cancel them out before they're able to put in that damage, but there's a rallying break onto the point. They're now all fighting into the small cubbies. Being forced to touch this point on the side of Northeastern is going to hurt. We see that EMP come out. It's going to manage to just barely hit out Timid. And a break without a shield is just a break without any players. So as we see them use that Sound Barrier just to make sure that they are perfectly fine and picking off Woe, there's really just not much that they can do, nor can they truly touch this point. And I've got to say, it's an impressive start to see UST Thomas take the lead when it comes to Lijiang Tower.
Yeah, I definitely want to say that UST just seemed a lot more focused there than the opposing opposition. But SCL, despite losing, gets the play of the game on the Reinhardt. I believe it was probably the first shatter of the game. Yep, there it is.
It's just a very beautiful and kind of, I think, understanding of just playing that aggression. Maybe it's just that over-aggression that works him a little bit. I gotta say that play of the game is always going to be on my mind of just how upsetting it was to see that shatter come out. It could have been absolutely big, but it just seemed to not enough. Though, from your own analytic big brain, what did you see, or kind of things that may have worried you?
I mean, it was definitely, I have to say, on the side of UST, their Reaper player. He just did a really good job just making sure he's always in the opposing team's backline, making sure they can't do anything. One thing that I noticed that like a lot of lower ranked Reaper players do, so here's a free coaching tip if you want to get better. Don't Wraith to engage, Wraith to like disengage, which is something that he did really, really well. And honestly, like in all of my rank games, I just watch Reapers Wraith to engage, and it's like, what is your escape option?
You know, you're not wrong, especially because we're at a very, I think I want to say high elo. We're not at like top 500 levels like that. We're more of kind of the middle ground to high diamond kind of masters and such. So I think techniques like that very much matter. It can cost a fight, and that's something we're going to be expecting out of these players. But now we get an opportunity to ban a map. For those who don't know, we're going to be able to ban a map, any map in the pool, and then kind of just pick another one, you know, just pick whatever. It cannot be the same game type in a row, but however, it is going to be something from here. And, you know, that brings a lot of ideas. However, it just seems that we are going to be seeing Volskaya banned. That map being gone is going to hurt. I think that's by far the best 2CP map.
I'd definitely say it's one of the best 2CP maps. I wouldn't say it's the best one, because I'm a big personal fan of Hanamura. I believe that,
Incorrect.
in my opinion. Okay, you know what, listen here. I'm sorry, who is the Symmetra player? Who is the one who adores 2CP? Who is the one who cried when they announced that 2CP was being deleted?
Listen, all right? Not my problem. Continue with your point, because,
Okay.
you know, I want people to be able to clip when you're wrong.
What do you mean? They're just going to be clipping you the whole time, because clearly you're the one in the wrong here.
No, all right. I'm on the left side because I'm always right. All right. That's just the moment that we had to give you for a bit of that liberty. But still, I think losing out on Volsky Industries, it hurts a lot. As much as like Hanamura I don't like on Hanamara. I think Temple of Anubis is a much better map. We're gonna be seeing Rialto be played. They want to just avoid kind of that 2CP area, just seem to go back onto a kind of escort area. And I think Rialto is one of those maps where you don't really have to worry about much. It's a very I gotta move my head for this. I gotta let the brain kind of waddle in. I want to say momentum based sometimes, but it's not always.
Yeah, Rialto is just kind of one of those like linear maps. Like if you kind of look at it, you don't really have that many like good flank options, so everything's just kind of focused into one like central main area. But like I have to like kind of go with what you said about how it's very momentum based because I noticed it's a lot harder to stop teams on Rialto once they actually get that ball rolling.
Yeah, and I definitely have to agree. It can be very much a struggle. That's why I like to always point out when a full hold happens, because as much as you can say that it's incredibly easy, I think it's incredibly difficult to be able to full hold on Rialto. Solely just because the defending side is going up against so much. That first kind of choke area is close quarters, and you're going to be able to break it down. But for the rest, it just becomes an increasing issue of we're in open sight lines, our respawns can be struggling, and we're not getting enough picks. So when you're able to kind of ignore those, be able to focus down and work well as a unit, I think that's really good.
Yeah, because as I'm kind of floating around the map here, we look at where the payload starts for the attacker side, and you just immediately, as soon as you walk out of spawn, see 3 high grounds for the defenders. Honestly, I believe that Rialto is one of the most balanced maps for payload, except for this first section, because you have so much high ground you can play on, and then once you round that first corner, you have so many angles to just hold this really thin road that the payload has to go through.
That makes a I can see that making sense though with uh the wrecking ball kind of composition coming out and Sklee, seeming like they feel confident on it. How do you feel that going up against a double shield?
Well, I definitely have to say that, like, double shield is just always really, really good, because you just, place a shield, destroy the shield, or you have another shield. But ball just goes, oh, shield, yeah, I'll just roll by that. I don't care. I'll just knock you away from that.
I can definitely see what you mean on that idea. Increasingly so, as so much damage is going to be put into that shield. They're putting more focus on trying to just boot off Tsunami or Abstract as that Echo's flying around. They are going to be losing on Hop, which does become an issue as that Zenyatta is very much needed. And they're putting pressure on the high ground, wanting to be able to dive out what looks to be C-dubs. But they really only trade when it comes to Dan Twist. Abstract being dangerously low, gets that immortality, going to be able to beat through the stickies, and Neats getting traded in the crossfire. They had to break through this tiny little choke with the attackers kind of wanting to more focus onto that high ground, deny Abstract from being up there, but still being a lot of work to do so.
Yeah, Abstract is honestly in one of the best positions. I mean, now as we're watching the Northeastern team come up to the high ground, suddenly he's not. But that's just such a good high ground to hold, especially for this area.
Yeah, and it just seems that they're going to be picked off. It hurts just seeing that wrecking ball get melted down so quickly. They are somewhat split. They're looking like they want to just be able to push this payload. However, this quick rotation means that they aren't going to get too far. Thomas basically still just have that room to be able to just walk right back. Though this wrecking ball does return, they're going to be able to just put in that poke, get them down to half health, and force them to get a mega health pack. What does Northern University really need to do?
Northeastern University, I'm going to be 100% honest, they really need to just focus the target. You notice that they have an idea in mind, but as soon as the ball rolls through, they all just want to take like 1v1s in the middle of a team fight, which is something you just can't really do in the game of Overwatch.
Definitely a fair statement. Unfortunately, though, what's not fair is just how much damage they're getting hit with. We're seeing the double shield now take a massive rotation, wanting to just play as far back as possible, making all the resources become very much minimum by the time the dive is able to reach them. Especially with these angles, they're stuck playing inside their own spawn. Pulse Bomb goes, manages to get G-Hop, and that's just rude. They're barely even kind of moving in, and yet you're still deciding to end it.
Yeah, definitely. I think either that Dan Twist was thinking they already have Transcendence and he wanted to bait it out, or he just wants to make sure that they can't use Transcendence if they wanted to initiate a fight there.
Yeah, so when moving a little bit more into this, it's going to just be weird. We're seeing a lot of waiting. They're now finally set up because they're 6, having that Zenyatta in a safe spot, getting set up, using that rally as the engagement ability, and then the Transcendence as a way to just secure that. The Bob is the kind of counterplay that they're using to distract them while the Transcendence comes out a little late to be able to save out their own Baptiste, and the mines are there. they're still at a disadvantage onto the side of Thomas. They eventually lose the majority of their side. The Orisa truly being the last one to kind of stand a hole because Abstract doesn't really have much their own name. With a minute left, they're going to be able to just push forward, take out Tsunami, and I'm guessing it just needed to start hitting Q, and that's what they felt.
Yeah, and definitely as I was saying earlier about how once you get the ball rolling, you just kind of start popping off on this map. I want to point out that as soon as they got the payload right around that corner, it was just all of a sudden Northeastern's just game right now.
Well, though it seems they don't really care much about losing that initial fight, allowing them to capture that first point. They just take the fight immediately to them. The Brigida just playing so far forward. They're eventually going to be walking back to their stairs, wanting to play on that high ground, deny as much as they can, even timid going on to the Mercy. So at least this swaps up the variety, and it's going to kind of change how things are working in these fights.
Yeah, and definitely watching the blue team sitting up here just holding this high ground. There goes G-Quap, and my goodness, he just instantly got deleted.
Absolutely hurts to see. Look at that. Hirsch wants to be able to move out, boop someone off, but they just freely jump and they look to stagger. That Baby Diva not gonna even get much. Gonna get pulled before they fall off, so that gives ult charge to Tsunami, who's looking to rebuild up that bongo. It's getting increasingly difficult. They're struggling to find any openings.
Yeah, because unfortunately, like, okay, I'm going to be honest. I know I said that the rest of this map is kind of balanced. I believe that the second part, where you have to cross this bridge to get across, is just so oppressive if you just can't keep the momentum going.
No, I definitely see what you mean, especially since 3 ultimates being charged up for the side of Northeastern. They are looking to place that pulse bomb onto the wrecking ball, gonna be taken out. Hurts to see. Oh my goodness, it's so mean. Needs is at least trying to find as much as they can when it comes to spam damage, but eventually being poked. That pulse bomb inside, Thunder's gonna be able to punish. Now the rest of the team, who didn't even get a chance to be able to use that copy, are basically just gonna be looking to reset. Hirsch even wants to hide just to kind of escape.
Yeah, I definitely have to say it's very interesting that now that I'm actually like taking a nice deep look at Northeastern's composition here, just trying to get across this choke point, because it's very weird that they still want to run Zenyatta. Well, hang on, let me get interrupted by this Diva Bomb that does absolutely nothing for the side of Northeastern. And alright, everyone's just pressing Q now.
It's a fight that they need to win right now. We see that window kind of come out as the Transcendents are mirroring. That copy goes on to the Brigida. That's basically a mini Reinhardt that's helping you out. Though to Tsunami and Thunder, they're still alive to be able to help. Using that rally from the copy, we're seeing this immediate reset coming out from the side of Thomas. I'm guessing they're understanding that they're not going to directly win this fight, so just letting their Brig stall for as long as possible. They don't really worry.
Yeah, and I mean, I guess that's the good old thing about the Caster's Curse. I was over here about to criticize their comp about why they can't cross the bridge, and now here they are getting ready to come around one of the last final turns of the second point. And it looks like the momentum has just swung back into their favor once again.
They'd like to say, rolled and smoked, my dog. So,
Preach it.
yep, so moving out. This is though an ult disparity. The Gordic Flux popped out, cashing out needs immediately melting, though the res is possible, and it seems that just enabled Tibbet's not going to have anyone focused down, and they're going to be able to freely get it out. This is where that Bob and Bongo are truly going to be making the difference. It's at 14 seconds. They have to make something when it comes out of this fight, though needs being able to put immense pressure onto Abstract. The Bongo, though, forcing them back. They're being a little more cautious. That bomb hitting onto the Orisa, only taking out the Bongo, luckily enough. Yet it finds out Thunder. G-Hop going to be able to do it as Woe gets traded in. The Wrecking Ball trying to just survive for as much as possible. Build those mines. Not going to be able to pop it out with the copy being able to hit up the Sigma. The Brigida, someone who's actually wanted to take the initiative and fight it. Just barely being able to kind of keep yourself up until eventually Needs is not going to get much. It just seems Thomas having enough of their resources to start taking you out. And while it still may be second point, we're going to be seeing a hold stopping this and setting themselves up for a good win condition.
Yeah, definitely a really good like turnaround there for Northeastern University. Just doing a really good job actually finally getting across that bridge. Unfortunately, they couldn't really convert the second point into all the way. But honestly, like this is actually still very winnable for them.
How so? I mean, obviously, Rialto can be very difficult, and I think from what we saw, it's very easy to kind of lose your speed if you just stop pushing.
Yeah, I mean it's definitely one of those like basically at this point that Northeastern is going to have to actually realize that they need to take the fight to the enemy and not let them come to them if they want any chance of actually winning Rialto. But like I said, it's still very winnable for them.
I'm gonna have to believe in you. There is no way that they're wanting to go down in the series 2-0, especially a first to 3. So, at least seeing this double shield mirror, well, somewhat mirror, we're seeing a bit more flexibility, or I think inspiration coming out of both sides. I love Neats being on top of that Torbjorn. Torb stat is just my favorite thing in the game, and I think Torbjorn's a really good character, and kind of like a passive counter to most compositions just because of how annoying it can be. While I don't think C-Dub is going to be walking out onto the Moira, they're basically running, I think, what is considered a lot more of aggressive version of Double Shield.
Yeah, I definitely want to say that I am also a big fan of the Torbjorn, just because that turret. It's just every now and then it could just surprise you, catch you off guard, especially if you're focusing an enemy. And meanwhile, the Torb's just getting that nice little passive income of his ultimate charge. Just you just kind of sit in the corner, not do anything, and just enjoy his day.
They are just kind of immediately putting some damage out. Thunder almost gets caught out, but being able to just kind of crash be underneath the payload, basically matrix them, it's working out in their favor. They're basically hiding in a lot of natural cover to be able to just move forward without any worry about giving them ult charge. Even Wah, who just trying to do that, is going to get found. We're going to be seeing them now play immediately on this choke. The rest of Northeast are basically going to just look to get any pick. Their high ground is no longer theirs, meaning that they are at a massive disadvantage. That Dynamite may not find much, but Neat is the one who gets picked up, playing underneath, basically 1v1ing this Hanzo until eventually the team's going to drop down right underneath them. The double shield not struggling as they lose out Hop, Timid, and eventually Squeal. It's just not looking good for them as they're going to just wait, and, well, Thomas are going to just move forward.
Yeah, St. Thomas did a really good job. They're dropping off of the high ground at a nice little safe distance. That way, in the event, if the fight just started going bad, they had 3 different escape route options. But it just seemed like Northeastern just didn't care that they dropped behind them. We're like, yeah, you guys can be back there. We don't mind.
Yeah, definitely have to agree. Whoa, getting picked though is a big issue, especially with that window out. They can no longer try to contest that payload without fear of massive death. Nietzsche just showed you why that was a big mistake. Thankfully, though, they're all having some sense of mind, wanting to just take that reset as they're gonna have to hold it on second point.
Yeah, as they all decided to go for a nice swim before realizing they're a lot like me, who doesn't know how to swim. They're just gonna have to take the reset here, just kind of enjoy their day. Back in the spawn, which I feel like at this point, they're kind of used to at this point.
Definitely agree to that own sentiment. Though being able to just move out, they are kind of more prepared as they're sitting on top of the high ground. That dragon's coming out. Oh, beautifully placed, but countered by the immortality, meaning you're not going to get much. They're even getting healed up before they were able to die. That's what I've got to call regrouping and working together. The ultimates are now in their favor after these gravitic fluxes are catching up. The Transcendence just barely being able to save out Northeastern, though the Molten Core wanting to make a difference is kind of placed around. Now canceled midway through. It's still going to be able to make a lot of room. That Bob being kind of thrown inside the backline of North. They're trying to just get as much poke damage as possible. It's not really going to be capturing anybody, but it is more used to focus down. Now with the bongo place and the tank line not truly having that shield immediately, they are struggling. This is a massive damage push as we see Squill just not have anyone to be able to defend them. But Hirsch was just kind of not there while Abstract was blocking them off. The rest of their team now struggling just to be able to do as much as they can, even switching over to the Wrecking Ball, try to come back fast enough, but it's just a little bit too late because once again we are seeing UST Thomas. They're going to be taking the victory and basically already at match point.
Yeah, and definitely as I was saying about how this is one of those very momentum-based maps, you just noticed that, like, UST, once they had that momentum, they just never gave it up. They just kept going and going and going, and as we watch Dan Twist here on the Hanzo with that play of the game, you're just going to kind of see this momentum I was talking about.
You know, it's just an absolute great way to kind of finish off this map and set yourself up, because now you only got one map to play, and obviously you can't play another escort, but you can always go back to hybrid. You can always go to 2CP or control, and well, you're gonna feel confident. I think they've been looking absolutely amazing, but I really can't put it on the tongue of why they look so good. Is it just that they look like they know how they're playing their comp?
Yeah, I definitely want to say they know exactly how they're playing their comp. They know exactly what they need to do and when to do it. They're also just really good at target focusing, which is something that Northeastern is really just struggling to do right now. Like, they did really good on the first map of Lijiang Tower, but as the times have gone on, you just notice they're all just wanting to take 1v1s rather than a full 6v6 team fight.
And that can be a varying problem, I think. That's because that double shield's all about kind of singular focus, right?
Yeah, exactly. It's because like okay, like I stated at the during like the defensive side of Rialto with double shield, it's very just I place a shield, you break it, don't worry, we have another shield. Oh, you broke that one, cool. My shield's now off cooldown, so I can just place it again. But because unfortunately, since Northeastern wasn't just shooting the shields, like just focusing it out, and they were trying to look for like people peeking around the shields, they could just keep recycling the shields, stepping behind the shields to get rehealed. And UST did a really good job noticing that, and they just kept abusing Northeastern's inability to just look at a shield.
Gotta say that's extremely insightful. But out of everyone so far, who's been kind of a player you've been keeping your eye on? I think Abstract has been absolutely phenomenal. Same with Tsunami. Those are the players, at least on my mind, besides from just C-Dub. I think those three, very juicy MVP candidates that you can vote for.
Yeah, I was definitely going to be thinking about Tsunami, but of course, what's a main tank without his off tank? Abstract has just doing an amazing job just making sure Tsunami can stay alive, whether it's with his shield, his defense matrices, just anything that Abstract can do. Tsunami, he's just making sure Tsunami knows about it, and Tsunami's just able to just enjoy his free world.
Definitely, I can't really complain about that sentiment. You said something that wasn't bad for one. So at least, we get to just kind of move things forward. We get to say that Blizzard World is the map banned. I'm a little upset. I liked Blizzard World. I thought Blizzard World is a very good map, but Thomas, spits in my eye, just says no. We don't want to play it. Apparently, it's the worst of all the hybrids instead of something like Icon Vault and King's Row. However, within that pick,
Okay.
listen. I like King's Row. All right, don't get me wrong. Don't get me wrong. I like King's Row. I gotta be dramatic. I gotta be dramatic. The viewers gotta had some stakes in here, and I guess the stake is what map that we're going to. What does Northeastern kind of compositions or styles fit that they can work best? I don't know if you really just want to let yourself go back to a control. Do you just want to force it onto 2CP? Force that little 50-50?
I mean, of course, you're talking to the man who loves 2CP, but definitely if I was on the side of Northeastern, I would definitely want to see what map the opposing team decided to ban first, because that means they just don't want to play it, and then pick a map similar to that type. UST probably banned 2CP because they haven't played it that much in preparation for Overwatch 2, where it just doesn't exist anymore. So right now, before Overwatch 2 releases in like 2033 or whenever we're gonna get it, if you focus on 2CP, you can probably win a lot of games on it because no one else wants to play it.
Oh man, wow! Actually, that's something I didn't even think of. A lot of teams, especially in Tier One, they're kind of slowing down when it comes to scrimming onto 2CP. They're really playing that 5v5 workshop game mode by Elo Hell. So it's pretty. Wow, that is an eye-opening moment. But something that I'm gonna be closing my eyes for is King's Row. This can be a messy one out of everything. I've never seen a King's Row that it's ever gone the same, and I think that's giving credit to one of the best maps in Overwatch. Being able to just walk into each other, it just hits different.
Yeah, like I always want to give like big hype for 2CP, praise 2CP, best map type there is, don't at me. But King's Row is just by far the best map in the game just overall. It's really balanced on both attack and defense. There's just nothing you can really hate about it.
I think there are some things you can hate about it. Number one, the injustice, all right, of the Omnics that they have to face. All right, did you forget that what you're carrying, that payload is an EMP bomb that's going into an Omnic district. All right.
Yeah, and your point?
Okay, listen, Joe Biden. I don't need to hear this right now.
Whoa,
All
okay.
right. I don't even know where I
Okay.
was going with that. I just thought of the word Joe Biden. Either way,
That's a very interesting terminology there.
I don't know. Somebody on Twitter will kind of get it. I know I don't. Either way, going in, I'm very excited to see how these teams walk out. Even when it comes to that double shield, they're not running those pure fundamentals. I think they're kind of playing on the right of it, a little bit more of just kind of whatever they feel works best with the style. They're at least using the bases. So when it comes to King's Row, that bases is obviously the Ryan Diva, Cassidy May, Lucio Baptiste. But the question is, are we going to see any variations, changes, any adaptations?
I mean, I definitely have to say that my favorite composition on King's Row for the first point with that Symmetra Bastion, where you just TP on top of this nice, beautiful statue of this Omnic man with the little child. It's just so entertaining just seeing a Bastion just up there all of a sudden mowing down the opposing forces, because it's nothing you can actually just prepare for.
Mm. You know, you are definitely right with it. That becomes kind of a big problem. Though we are going to get this pause, these teams are not showing off anything that I think is untoo surprising, besides from Thomas, who I think are maybe having a little bit too much fun on the idea of playing out a Torbjorn, you know. I think Torb's good. I don't think he's good on King's Row. I think Moira isn't that bad, but you know, it's kind of a good idea. And obviously, you guys can't see it, but this is something that you're going to be looking at and you're going to be able to kind of notice once the map gets started. But, I gotta say, if you were to run a Torb on King's Row, how do you even run that?
I mean, you have a few different options with Torb. You can either place the turret in like a nice little sneaky spot to just kind of get a nice little flank angle whenever they're pushing into the point, or you can put it on the point and just let the team know, hey, this is our point. You're not going to have this. It actually, I just realized he's on the attacking side, so this is just going to be throw the turret at the enemy and see if they want to shoot it. And well, as I say that, we're just going to see a Cassidy instead.
It's all hypotheticals. Everything is going to just run as we know it. Though you guys at least got to see the little teaser in the hypothetical if you wanted to run in your comp games and ping us that Maywall's going to be catching out Squeal very closely. Though the Immortality able to save, they're still able to just kind of move out of the way. No fear, no worries in sight. And it seems that C-Dub's the one who's going to get traded out extremely early. Though they use this Maywall to don't allow them to be able to push forward. We see needs catch them out. The Diva Abstract D-Mech, though, they get that trade onto Squill, and that may hurt. They have faster respawns on the side of Thomas, meaning that they're going to be able to start pushing in a little forward with a little more confidence. Though Dan Twist is going to kind of shorten this out, making that Northeastern, they're going to feel fine. They're basically just going to allow their Reinhardt to come back, and then they're going to get set up for this fight, immediately walking in, though Q Hop's own window, forcing them back. That Maywall only being used just to slow things down. They're just waiting for their time.
Yeah, I definitely have to say it's very interesting that St. Thomas with Northeastern losing their main tank decided not to take that fight. Like that was very winnable because right now in Overwatch, if you lose your main tank, you kind of lose the fight.
Yeah, and they're taking that fight very early. Look at that, it's a bit unfortunate that Maywall catches you out in front of the window. This is now where the Cassidy High Noon comes into play. However, being held for a little too long, not going to find much. The Blizzard not being eaten at least kind of focuses them out, putting them into the hotel and making this rotation look a bit more uncomfortable. Dan Twist wants to use their own High Noon just to kind of uneven up the fight, make sure that when Scale kind of returns to the fight, they're not even going to be able to help out their own team. Caught by the Maywall, they are split off and they are retreating. They are not looking like they kind of want to take this fight in any scenario. And look at that on the bright side, a bunch of ultimates now set. Thunder having the Blizzard, not a bad kind of push, if I do say.
Yeah, I definitely want to say that looking on the side of UST, they're doing a really good job here basically managing their ultimate pool. Because, I mean, we have Shatter Blizzard, which is really good. They have that nice defensive beat. And then look at the side of Northeast, and we have a bomb.
You know, I can't say that's like the wrong idea. It is just a bomb. So at least it's going to just give them some space and some room if they really need it, especially with Squeal's own Shatter. Now moving slowly into this choke, it can be a dangerous way to engage, so they decide to just use that Blizzard out first. The bomb splitting them up, the sound barrier is used just to be able to ignore that bomb. They push forward, ignoring the window, 2 ultimates in 1, and yet none of them are going to be able to get much. That Shatter a bit more inspirational than I truly think Tsunami wants it to be. Basically hits air, but at least they're going to be able to push this farther.
Yeah, I definitely want to say that UST is just doing a really good job here, just focusing their targets. They got the freeze onto SCL, and even though that Hirsch threw his bomb, they were like, we know we have enough time to survive before we have to actually answer this bomb exploding on us. So we can just get this free kill on the main tank and just rollerblade over this composition.
Man, you're 100% not wrong. But I feel the worrying part is that they are back. That bomb's thrown out, and it almost demechs Hirsch. Hirsch is just barely able to escape. They have to use that sound barrier just to be able to push out while they're at the disadvantage, using that Shatter combined with the High Noon. It's an uncomfortable way, though. Dan Twist kind of mirroring when it comes to using out the Cassidy's High Noon, able to get that trade and make it a 2v2. Well, not direct 2v2, but getting that 2v2 pick. CSL, or rather Squeal, is struggling to help out. That charge missing on the side of Tsunami. They are not going to be able to get this capture.
Yeah, I definitely want to say Dan was doing a much better job on his high noon, because unfortunately, like 2-1 is pretty good, but he was actually able to interrupt woes by making sure that that Cassidy is on the far right side of the screen. Because remember, McCree shoots right to left, so whoever's on the right is going to be dying first.
And that's where you gotta hit them with the Cassidy flick, as I'd like to say, just that whatcha. But though it seemed to not be to give them a chance to kind of demonstrate the technique using that blizzard, the entirety of Thomas though able to just immediately retreat without a care in the world, going all the way back to their spawn, then immediately brawling. They wanted to demech Hirsch, but they're not able to get it out. Though Abstract is able to kind of get skill to go a little bit too far, not help out the Baptiste. They're uncomfortable, and this just hurts, especially because that shatter is going to be getting much possibly canceled or just not able to do anything. The rest of Northeastern aren't going to be able to have much of a team fight. They are struggling just to be able to stay up as they're split and caught off. Though Thomas at least going to be able to capture the second point and get a little bit of a stagger onto Hirsch, who was stuck inside their backline.
Yeah, you know that SCL is going to be kind of sad. Oh no, here comes the big baby diva stagger that we all know and love.
It's always so rude when I see it, and I think it's a big fear too, because the diva can just remech, kill you with like that 300 damage or something like that. It's absolutely terrifying.
Yeah, I mean, I used to be a diva main at one point, and I always hated having to stand there as baby diva, especially like before her mech got buffed to do the 300 damage. You just kind of have to stand there and go, well, hey guys, can I be for a friend?
It seems though this fight just moving in, not getting any opportunity. The high noon not gonna find much, but the bombs being thrown like rabbits. They are just barely able to shield it though. Hop isn't gonna be able to live while the blizzard catches everybody else out. Unfortunately enough, they are using that own blizzard that gets eaten. That's going to just that's gonna hurt as they're now forced inside this last fight scenario. The rest of Thomas are gonna be able to just move forward, wanting to get as much value as they can or stop anyone from contesting. And it seems that was their main objective, being able to finish out on 2 minutes and 7 seconds.
Yeah, USG doing a really good job just making sure these ultimates on the side of Northeastern are just not happening. You had Thunder just instantly freeze SCO while he was trying to shatter, which is just so crucial in this maintain difference of a fight. And then you have Dan Twist just making sure his Cassidy is a lot better than the opposing. Like, honestly, like, UST, they're doing a really good job with their ultimate pulls and knowing how to use it. And Northeastern, they're just kind of just throwing it at the wall and hoping something sticks.
Not having a plan in Overwatch, what would be like the relation you would call that? I would say driving without taking the test, you know?
Yeah, I would definitely have to say that's kind of similar. I mean, Overwatch with no action, or no action, but like no direction. I mean, honestly, that's just your everyday rank game, if we're being honest.
Okay, you're not wrong, but I'm not gonna say you're right. The issue comes that I want to point out is more of, well, Thomas, they're not really dying. As you can see kind of on the screen, the deaths are a lot more lower than compared, though Abstract being able to not really die at all. And same with the Lucio. That's absolutely impressive, and I feel they're looking a lot cleaner on these brawl engages. I'm a little worried to see how North is going to try to break through this.
Yeah, definitely. Now that I'm taking a look at who's died and who hasn't, just seeing like the Lucio and Diva just never dying, like especially Diva, that's pretty good.
It's absolutely something beautiful that I'd like to say. They're taking their fight along the path, but it seems that Skill is able to find out Dan Twist, now causing them to be in a 5v6. Sorry, 4v6. They managed to get that charge in. Skill just making a difference when it comes to the game of Overwatch, being able to just to push in without a care in the world. And that is a beautiful first capture to point A.
Yeah, and here we go with another baby Diva stagger, but unfortunately this one has his mech, so we're gonna see if they're just gonna kill him. No, he actually gets the remech here.
Some people do, some people don't. That remake is a bit more hurtful than anything. Unfortunately, though, Abstract, once again, as a small Weedle baby, stuck inside their own enemy's backline.
Yeah, I definitely have to say the remake was a little mistimed there. His team wasn't quite ready to help come back and save him, but, well, at this point now, blue team, the side of Northeastern, they're gonna definitely have the momentum that they wanted.
They're gonna feel really clean. They also get that early pick onto Woe, who, well, was trying to just move out. And with Thunder being traded, I guess that kind of makes it a bit more fair with Abstract being gone. Defender's not going to be having anything. That Shatter going into the shield, and then Squeal just proves a difference, saying you can't outshine me, managing to pop it down. Even if that window's out, no care in the world. They're going to be continuing to move it out on Street's phase.
Yeah, definitely, like, I wanted to spectate Hirsch there real quick, and as I clicked onto him, I watched him perfectly follow that Lucio through the air, making sure he gets knocked down, taking out that immortality field. This is what I was saying at the beginning of the match, like, no matter how far down Hirsch is, he just always has this positive mentality, and you can just see it in the reflection of his gameplay.
Fair enough, fair enough. Though they're going to have to start popping out some ultimates if they want any chance to be able to hold this second point. Thunder being able to use that wall just to kind of scare them out. Though they're hiding because Woe's inside their backline. Both Soundbears used at the same time. Now the High Noon and Blizzard trying to just make some form of a difference, but unfortunately enough, when it comes to Northeast, they're not even going to be able to get anything, not only out of that bomb, but with the High Noon. This Blizzard used a little late, but still being able to focus them out. The unfortunate part is their May walled off, they lost their Reinhardt, they had no shield protecting them, and it was basically a shooting range for that Lucio to just hippity hop right onto your lap.
Yeah, I definitely want to give a big shout out to Dan Twister. He was on just under 10 HP, and he somehow survived while taking out the ulting McCree from Woe. Or not McCree, Cassidy, I'm sorry. Oh, please don't cancel me.
You know it's a thing a lot of people have to get used to, but it's Cassidy, so it's no worries. At least you recognize that. I like to see how Tsunami's going to be setting up for this Shatter. Tsunami's been taking a lot of these fights really early, which I truly respect. Though that Maywall Shatter just does not work. They were already holding it up. And the Shatter. Tsunami throws it. Goes into the May Cryo, so at least you can look forward to that. The bomb being thrown far now. Trades into the Immortality while the window makes space out. Abstract going to be picked off by Woe. Looking Woe really good. I was trying to do the Crash Bandicoot, but not going to be able to hit it as we see both Reinhardts looking for the charge. Oh no, it seems that Squeal's not going to get much, but Tsunami gets traded with Dan being gone so early from this fight. It is going to be more struggling having that High Noon as they come back, getting that little speed, still doesn't manage to shoot anybody with it, while the D.Va is able to trade by getting out on Dub Thunder, and well, I guess the rest of the team are going to have to make the executive decision how they want to hold third point. Honestly, Northeastern have been looking very good and have been just pushing this payload without any cares.
Yeah, I definitely have to say, I believe that the ego that UST had really grew a lot after they got finished with the time of 207, but now they're having to, like, kind of check themselves and be like, hey, this team's going to have a much higher time than us. What are we going to do? We need to, like, pull out an answer here. We need to hold for 4 minutes.
Yeah, I can definitely agree. Look at that. We see that High Noon pushing forward. They're trying to get any early staggers, maybe any early picks before the fight can end. It just seems, unfortunately enough, and the one person you need to be there is gone. This Blizzard catching out the majority, that tank line. Though that bomb able to split them up, Hirsch is still gone. The Soundbear is going to help keep in Squeal at least for that little bit longer while Neats is building up. That Blizzard pops it down. Nobody's going to be able to eat it. You can't even escape it. The May gets the immortality, and we see the charges. Well, it's not in the favor of Tsunami as Abstract gets picked in, getting stunned out of their own ability, yet winning out on the 1v1. The advantage is still not in the favor of Thomas. We're going to be seeing this payload get captured, even if that Tsunami wants to try to touch again. At least the Shatter lands. I'll give you a benefit of the doubt on that capture with 3 minutes and 2 seconds. A lot better of a push.
Yeah, I definitely want to say that Northeastern, I think this is actually going to be a map that they're going to win, which I guess my prediction of 3-1 is starting to come to light a little bit. But I mean, I know you did predict 3-2, and we still have a chance for that. But honestly, like, just the side of Northeastern University, I definitely want to say their DPS did a lot better this time around.
And what do you mean by that? Are they playing a lot more aggressive, flanky?
I definitely want to say, like, they're realizing that they need to take the fight to UST, and they're playing so much better that whenever I look at their DPS lineup, I have to say, whoa, that's pretty neat.
I can definitely agree to that. I think that's a really nice sentiment, and, you know, I think it really matters, especially because they're basically fighting on these mirrors. However, both of these teams able to capture it as far as they could. It's basically a minute worth of a difference, a minute and 2 seconds, which isn't a lot of time, but I think we can both agree that that can be something game changing, no matter how you look at it.
Yeah, 2 seconds. While a lot of people like, especially if you take someone from like outside of a gaming scenario, if you say them, "How long is 2 seconds?" they would say it's nothing. But if you put that in like Overwatch terms, that's probably a really long CC chain stun, which can easily turn a fight around. So 2 seconds really does matter in gaming communities.
We're gonna have to see how they turn those 2 seconds into something more. But that's later on, because this is the attacker's side being able to push through. They're splitting up a little bit onto that shrine. We see Abstract get Maywalled off, but gonna be able to escape. They're just looking for that slow rotation. No care in the world. Most of the resources being used on the side of Northeastern as both Fire Strikes go out, wanting to build as much as they can. Now this is where the mid fight goes in. Squeal being able to find out Thunder, but the trade goes on to Squeal. Losing on that main tank's going to be hurting, but they're split on sides. Not really going to be able to have much sustain on the side. Well, of Northeastern, as they lose out, needs Thomas just being able to find the convincing ways to just get these picks. And now, even though we see her staggering onto the point, just trying to last, we're going to be seeing the rest of their team come up, the window being used, and the wall catching them out. That immortality is worked on line of sight. You're not going to be able to save your own main tank, and now you have to try to stop them as the payload slowly is going to go down to kind of an overtime scenario. It's still 50 seconds, though.
Yeah, US2 doing a really good job, just kind of taking that nice little first fight a little slow, realizing they need to get a good first pick, especially onto SCL. They do a really good job of that, and honestly, we haven't mentioned this quite recently, but for the MVP poll, which will be closing if UST can actually win this map out, make sure you get your votes in. And right now, Thunder with all these walls, he's doing really good.
Absolutely gorgeous, I'd like to say. This is now the scary part. They only have the Lucio on the point. They're taking this early fight, though. The High Noon versus the Blizzard. It's not an ultimate you really want to be going up against. They are just barely able to escape it, and we see that beautiful charge come out, but the Shatter makes a difference. They are going to be able to peel in for themselves, take out Woe, who tried to use the High Noon. Now the rest of Northeastern, they're getting punished for trying to just play aggressive and end that fight as early as possible.
Yeah, and as we watch here, as they're just going to be like slowly moving this card around, they do have 4 on point. Definitely don't want to accidentally C9, because we have seen that a few times in Star Esports, and it is very upsetting whenever you watch it. But they are doing the nice little 3-3 composition, 3 on point, 3 push up, make sure that they can't contest, and it looks like the point's just going to kind of roll in, but it looks like SEO really wants to contest this.
Yep, they are trying to stall onto this point. If they get the Baptiste, that's not very good, because they capture the point. This is now a fight directly onto the second side. They lose out Hirsch, though Squill is still there. It's not going to be for much longer. And look at that, 2 minutes, and they have pushed it this far, and they are continuing. They have 2 ultimates on the other side. Northeastern, they don't really have anything.
Yeah, Northeastern here is going to be definitely looking for answers, as Hirsch is going to be swapping over to the Sigma. I don't really know how I feel about seeing a Sigma this late into the game, especially with 0 ultimate charge.
I definitely have to agree. Now we have to see what they do trying to move forward. Thunder, though, gets picked off. That's absolutely massive. We see the Shatter go. It really only catches the Baptiste, who was mid-air. The High Noon being out canceled, though they're able to find out opposite. The majority of Thomas, they're not really going to win that. Thunder being picked off cost them everything. Thanos would be proud for the side of Northeasterners. They stop it, but that is such a good win condition.
Yeah, especially getting all the way for 48.06 on that third section is really good, especially with how much time they were given. But now we're going to be seeing Northeast here with 3 minutes and 2 seconds to see just how far they can take it. And I kind of wanted to get a nice little bit of intel from you, Mr. Userman.
Ooh.
Do you think that Northeast can pull this off?
Do I think that Northeast can pull this off? Do I think? Well, of course I do. These are Overwatch players. They play this game 24 hours a day. They breathe, live it, and I think if they cannot do this, well, what are you? Dramaticness aside, though, I definitely think they have the ability to be able to push it. They looked amazing on their own attack. It just seemed defending is a bit more the weaker side. Though they may come out with some swaps, a bit of differences, they look a lot better. And they managed to cap with only 3 minutes. Maybe those seconds will count. I have hope, but I guess hope is truly all we can have. I don't know how well this Junkrat will do. However, it's still not 100% if they walk out on it.
Yeah, it's going to be really interesting seeing a Junkrat. I mean, I kind of want to see it. He's still sitting in spawn, so we might see a last second swap. No, it looks like he kind of wants to commit to this. We're actually going to be seeing a Junkrat here, so I'm kind of hyped for this.
Oh, this is a Wimbaway type of moment. They're going to be using that Junkrat to make that space. We already see a good amount of damage coming out that wall. Just barely misses as Squill's going to be able to slightly escape. Kind of wall split. Immortality goes in. That counter charge is being there. They trade in onto Neat. However, Tsunami just a little bit split off from the support line. It's not going to be getting any help. Luckily enough, they managed to get a nice May wall. Caught out Squee. And whoa. So at least they managed to give themselves more time for their main tank to return.
Yeah, Dan Twister's doing a good job on the Cassidy here, just making sure, well, there goes Noctis while I'm just trying to compliment Dan Twist. But that's the power of Junkrat, just kind of fire in a general direction and you're bound to kill something.
The window used extremely kind of expecting them to move in. Not really a good sentence, but still one nonetheless. They are taking the split angles. It seems that they want to try to break that attention, allow Hirsch to build up that gravitic flux. Now being inside the backside of their pocket, they use that window combined with the flux slamming down. They're already able to get two who were slammed into the air and then slammed onto the ground. There's just no room to be able to stop it, and that is a good way to win that point. Two ultimates that you're going to be building up very quickly.
Yeah, I definitely want to give big props to Neats there. It's not very often you actually see a Junkrat player use his concussion mines to actually throw someone else out of the way, which honestly just did a really good job because he even knocked a couple players into that gravitic flux, which just really helped Northeast turn that entire fight around for them.
I definitely agree. Though we're gonna have to listen. I don't know what you're laughing at because this is about to be nasty. The Riptire focuses down Abstract and gets caught inside the trap. That is just the worst way to be losing your mech. They can't even push forward like they plan to anymore.
Yeah, and definitely as Northeastern's going to be walking forward, just kind of leaving their Lucio doing his thing over there on the point. We're definitely going to be watching UST just back up and just realize, hey, we need to regroup, actually identify this Junkrat as a problem, and figure out what we're going to do about this.
Personally, for me, I think it's just all about shutting down. That's the goal that they're going to be looking for, especially with the ultimates that they built up. They can end this in one fight. It's less than 30 seconds as they're going to be moving out. Well, more especially when this fight truly takes place. This is 6 ultimates. All they have to do is spam out Q. They're using that high noon, but it gets hit by the shatter. That's a bit unfortunate, and Woe's able to get out Dub, though that bomb just barely able to find out Squeal and Dimon. The Blizzard is what they need to kind of make that difference. Unfortunately, though, the support line's there protecting Hirsch out in the long run, making sure that they are sustained, though the respawns are somewhat tied. It's whoever gets back to the point, we are going to be seeing the Lucio not being able to do anything. That was 5 to 4 ultimates, no, 4 ultimates more exactly used, and nothing truly found on it. They have to make some difference on this last point because they don't even get a contest.
Yeah, and that's definitely where they're going to be. Obviously, just kind of give up the point here. We're going to be seeing that we're going to be having the amplification matrix and shatter on the side of UST. And honestly, this is last fight territory because we have Riptire, their own map field, and gravitational flux. Like this is still anyone's fight right here.
Oh, it's getting a little worrying. That gravitic flux pops out, combining against the window. They already lose out Dub. The shatter may be kind of hit into a wall, but the Riptire finishes off on 2. Unfortunately enough, Thomas just don't have what it takes to finish off King's Row. And it seems that Northeastern, they want to keep this series alive as they finish King's Row.
Yeah, I definitely have to say this was a really impressive display from Northeastern. I mean, we saw the first 2 maps look like they were kind of struggling, but I guess they could hear me, and especially with SCL here getting the play of the game, finally on the winning side. I guess they heard me about focusing a target because the beats on the Junkrat just was so good, and that's just exactly what they needed to turn this game around.
Hey, they looked absolutely amazing on it, and I told you, they had what it took to be able to push forward. They just looked a lot better kind of continuously, though I don't understand how you win and don't get any cards because you guys aren't going to be seeing that. I just want to point that out because that's just a little fun fact. This at least sets themselves up as Northeastern. They may be able to shift things around and maybe bring this back in their own favor, but how do you feel on that?
I mean, I definitely have to say it's always good to see that a team is able to win in Game 3 after being down 0-2 because it gives you that nice little fighting spirit. You know, as the other team, you think you're comfortable with that nice 2-0 position, and all of a sudden you just get turned around and kind of kicked into the dirt there. As they're like, no, we're not going down quite yet. So it's definitely very interesting now that we're going to be going to a map 4. So there's still a chance that UST has a chance to win this next one because we're still on match point, and Northeastern still needs to win two more in a row if they want any chance of keeping their playoff hopes alive.
I feel like the worst part about this, just in general, is that you're so far right in the opinions that you have said. It's very much been this close. It's a map 4. We are going to be getting this banned, and these teams are going to be having an opportunity to put in an MVP vote for a little longer. So, I think you should take advantage of that in the description as much as you can in the time that you have. But honestly, what do Northeastern do? They can't play another hybrid in a row, so that means that they have to try to take their chances on a different map type. And with so many available options, that's almost overwhelming for me to think of.
Now, I understand that you probably didn't realize what just happened, but Northeastern won, so they are not picking the map choice here. They are actually going to be banning a map choice. UST is going to have to be deciding what kind of map choice do they want to go back to. Sure, they lost on hybrid, but since you said you can't pick the same map choice twice in a row, that gives them three other options. Two of them they won on, and one of them is 2CP, which, as we discussed earlier, I'm the only person who likes it.
No, we're not playing 2CP. You're right. I'm so terrible at phrasing. I guess more of what I mean is, what map do you ban? Because you're not going to be able to play hybrid again, so there's no reason why you try to ban something there. What do you really go after? Because I mean, if you do it on 2CP and they don't pick it, then you wasted that vote rather than on a map that you truly struggle on, like maybe an Ilios or maybe just a random Icon Ball.
Well, I was definitely thinking that you're kind of, if you're on the side of Northeastern, you definitely want to ban King of the Hill, because you did kind of get curb stomped a little bit on Lijiang Tower. And as I'm saying that, I looked down and I noticed that Northeastern is actually going to be banning Nepal. So clearly we're on the same wavelengths here with me and Northeastern. So banning the King of the Hill map is really good for Northeastern. But now UST has to decide, where are we going to play this fourth map? How does UST want to try and finish out this series?
I'll agree with you on that, and I disagree. I'm at least gonna say you're wrong because I know for a fact you did not expect them to run out on Nepal. You just looked down, you saw it, you said, you know what? Let's go with this.
Now, I was actually like really thinking ahead because I'll be honest, I don't fully have the map pool memorized, which I know like I can already see Refuse typing into my DMs. He's like, "How dare you not memorize my map pool?" But either way, just kind of thinking about this, of like, because you saw Northeastern just absolutely get rolled on King of the Hill, so of course they're going to ban King of the Hill. And then I just see Hirsch put in Nepal, and I'm like, hey, that's a King of the Hill map.
I gotta say the map pool though is very interesting. I think this is very favorable to kind of any team. I don't know how you don't remember it. We see it so often. Though with Nepal kind of spat out, we're just gonna say nope. Move over to an escort map. We are getting Gibraltar, the heavy dive map, which I don't know. I feel Northeastern they have made a big boo boo because do you remember the first composition that Thomas played when we saw them on Lijiang Tower?
I do not remember. Could you give me and the nice chat a good reminder?
All right. Well, one is Winston, and that's all you need to know. It was Shadow Dive because I'm just gonna kind of skip the rest. I could drag it off as long as I want, but the idea of it is that it's Shadow Dive. That's a dive composition. That means they have experience. They don't have to run pure dive if they want to. They don't even have to do the standard like Echo Diva. Echo Diva with the Ash as kind of your lineup. They can just run the Sombra, and it can work on Gibraltar as long as they're kind of playing to its strengths and playing as a team. While on the other hand, when we saw Northeastern play the Wrecking Ball, it didn't really work out to their favor. Maybe that'll be some differences, or maybe kind of playing a map that's designed for this idea, they're just going to be able to build themselves up.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be very interesting because Watch Point Gibraltar is definitely one of those weird maps where you can run like a bunch of different compositions. As I know you really love Shadow Dive, with how much you love preaching about it, you just love Shadow Dive. Shadow Dive should be played everywhere and all that.
Shadow Dive is a
Definitely
very
direct
good
quote from
comp.
you. I mean, I'm not saying it's not a good comp, which I'm afraid I actually have to say I agree with you that Shadow Dive is a good composition. I know you're gonna take that one down in your
Yeah,
books.
gotta save that one so I can add that in and tell my mom. She'll be proud of me.
Well, at least someone is proud of you.
Dang, gotta hit me like that. Either
I mean,
way. Uh, with kind of Northeastern deciding to take the defense, how much do you think that's gonna kind of put that more in their favor? You know, they're gonna be able to say, "Hey, you can push it to 3 points, but then we can push it to 3 points," and we saw something similar on King's Row. So, rough estimate. Who do you think kind of matters most in the dive, and who's going to be kind of getting more focused on?
Okay, well, first, kind of expanding on your like taking the defensive side first. I'm always a big fan of playing defense first, so that you kind of have an idea of how much time do you have and like how much time do you have to push it a certain amount of distance. Like if you can full hold, you know you have 4 minutes to just kind of relax, hang out. You're not like super sweating at the very start of the game. But thinking about the dive part, definitely looking at the side of USC Thomas since they're going to be playing dive since they are on the attacking side. As I stated up back on King's Row, Abstract is just really, really good in this dive composition. Because sure, everyone always likes to look at the main tank Tsunami, look at those big main tank differences. But like I said, the main tank is nothing without its off tank, and Abstract is doing such a really, really good job just making sure that Tsunami stays alive.
You know? Sometimes I think all you know is just Symmetra. But other days, I'd like to acknowledge the fact that you are very intelligent at times. This is where it can be the end. We're gonna have to see these teams bring what they can to the table if they want a chance to continue when it comes to All-Star Brawl. Ironically enough, once again, we're not most likely going to be seeing Brawl, which kind of gets rid of the impact of the name. Either way, me kind of stalling for time aside, we're going to be seeing their compositions, and it looks like that these teams are more focused on kind of falling into that stature. Though seeing Squeal onto that Wrecking Ball is a bit more interesting. They don't want to run out on that monkey, so that's basically their main tank.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be very interesting here because as we still have 30 seconds where the attacking side can definitely change up their composition. It's very interesting seeing this form of their dive composition. And definitely as they're kind of getting a nice little peek out that window, seeing SCL out there on the Hammond, they kind of get the idea, we can probably win this very easily.
And, I mean, what gives you that exact idea,
Well, I mean, if we're going to be 100% honest, they know how SCL plays Hammond. They saw him on Lijiang Tower, and they realize he just kind of just rolls in, doesn't really do a whole lot, and then just kind of rolls out, which they realize they don't need to focus him.
Fair enough. I think that's a pretty good assumption. Though they want to be able to take this high ground, this is more of just scouting as they're being able to focus and kind of see what's going on. The Discord may be able to hit Tsunami, but they're not really worried, even using their own resources to kind of avoid going out. The Tracer's the one who's on the payload, so the Wrecking Ball is trying to just do as much as they can to stall that out. And luckily they do manage to boop the monkey off of the high ground after that immediate leap. But they still don't have anyone that's being able to stop them from pushing forward. Hirsch is doing their best just to be able to lay down that damage. We even see the Echo Beam trying to melt down anyone, but they are getting healed to such a large extent. And with Woe being picked, there's nobody attacking out on the back line. Though this payload isn't really going to be moving any further, that means the fight is. We see them already diving out, looking to just take as much space as possible. Hirsch is the only one who's really going to be able to control that point for a little bit, but with this nano built, it's not going to matter too much because we lose out onto G-Hop. Brigida timid, just not able to do much, and that payload's just continuously moving. Nobody on the side of the Wrecking Ball composition is going to be able to stall, not even Woe with the blinks.
Yeah, this is definitely what I was talking about, how they just realized SCL is not a problem. We saw whenever Tsunami kind of jumped to the high ground, SCL just kind of rolled forward and was like, yeah, I'm over here, and then he just kind of rolled away. And USG is able to recognize this, and they realize, hey, we can capitalize on this and just instantly win this map.
It's just how to look good in Overwatch, I'd like to think.
I mean, it's not that hard to look good in Overwatch. I mean, look at us. We're out here casted in suits, and we always look great.
Absolutely true. Garfield, you watch, but whoa! Apparently not watching the sequels. Gets taken out by Dan Twist's amazing headshot, and they're going to be losing that steam as they want to be able to hold. We do see Squill use those mines inside the room, but then immediately everybody leaves. You only locked off a mega health pack. The copy is there just to be able to help for this long-lasting fight, as both rallies are there to give team equal amount of help. The issue just comes in that they're stuck on the high ground and the support line aren't able to protect the D.Va, who has to throw their bomb into that bubble to try to do anything, and you lose that Zenyatta with all that armor. Though Squeal still going out into the back, wanting to be able to take out that Ashe. Timmy gets hit with the anti and is stuck inside, well, outside, and is going to be able to kind of contest onto that point. We see them freely move it to second, winning out on that Streets phase and forcing this into a very curious kind of staggered fight.
Yeah, definitely as Tsunami gets the kill onto the Brigida there with his Primal Rage. And now we're going to be seeing this nice little stagger on D.Va. UST is kind of really dominating this map, and you got to be thinking on the side of Northeastern, like, what are they saying to each other? What is their plan to try and stop this for the next 5 minutes?
Man, I don't know. A lot of my feelings are feeling conflicted, especially while I'm talking. We see Squeal get immediately slapped, able to escape and kind of build up a bit more ult charge from it, but then throws that Bob in from the fight, and now it's being a very poking threat, causing them to have to use out that Transcendence. Still, it falls off the map. They lose out Hirsch. Dantwist being traded. The rally's still going to be able to make up that difference. Timid wants to do as much as they can to control this point as they try to 1v1 that monkey. Though C-Dub is taken, this is now looking a bit more favorable as the spawns are now in favor of Northeastern. The rest of the side of Thomas, they are looking so uncomfortable. Abstract wants to just try to escape, but look at that slam. Comes down, almost manages to hit that D-Mech. They're able to get the health back just in time. But even then, that's the first fight that they've won, which has stopped this push.
Yeah, it's always good to see, definitely, like, after you've been steamrolled a little bit, to actually win a fight, because that really gives you that nice little confidence and momentum boost. But unfortunately, like, as we see SCL, as I was saying earlier, he just kind of rolls in, doesn't really do much, and just rolls away. And UST, they're realizing this, and unfortunately, well, there goes C-Dub, and looks like Northeastern's actually going to be doing something here.
What they did was absolutely amazing. We even see them being able to kill people who are stuck in their own spawn. That's an early fight if I've ever seen one, and that's how you're going to take it. Now they're looking a little bit more confident just to play a bit more forward. So, what do they have to do to kind of keep this up, especially against the dive?
Well, I mean, as I've been saying, like, basically all match for Northeastern, if they actually want to win, they need to take the fight to UST. UST is always bringing the fight to them, and they lose. And as we see, they're going to be bringing the fight, and we're probably going to be seeing a winning side here out of Northeastern.
They're already moving out. Needs Hirsch and needs once more. Just being able to use that Gabi to great effect. The Monkey Primal is something that you don't want to go up against. It's like Incineroar in Smash Bros. Completely in your face.
Yeah, and definitely, as I was saying, as we see the stagger onto the Tracer there, like I said, Northeastern, if they take the fight to UST, they're going to win because UST's been playing this whole game as we decide when the fight starts. But if Northeastern can do that, UST is always going to be very underprepared.
Ugh. I mean, look on the bright side. Ultimates are kind of being traded out. There are now 4 to 5, and they are investing, throwing that bombs out for the poor Sigma and support line. They're just barely able to survive it, having to use that Transcendence, that big ultimate, but still being pressured out by Tsunami, who's stuck inside of them. That bubble is more looking to kind of focus them on the Gridflux used for that solo, but there's really nobody to kind of in the front line. Everybody's dead. Hirsch is kind of just stuck in a spot where you can't go help, and that's unfortunate to say the least.
And this is exactly what I'm saying. If you let basically these two teams comes down to who starts the fight. As you noticed, UST started the fight there, and for whatever reason, Northeastern was like, "Hey, let's put 4 people on this one monkey and even Graphitic flex him." There's 3 people pushing the cart. Now we don't care about that. UST has actually started to realize that if they start the fights, they will win every single time.
And I think that's just a really big part of it. Their dive has just also been looking, I think, very phenomenal. Just the way that they're being able to either go in with their monkey, they're kind of all staying as a group. We don't see them split up unless, well, they feel necessary. And like in that last scenario where the monkey wanted to use the primal to stop that Transcendence from going to the team or kind of put pressure into people. Now it's only going to be harder because you have to push that not only through the first point, which is still somewhat infamous to being able to hold because it's very easy to. You're doing so with the Wrecking Ball composition. And really, what's your feeling seeing it kind of go out onto the attack rather than just going onto the defense?
I mean, we still have time for him to change it up, because I'm going to be honest, SCL should probably just be sticking to Reinhardt. He's really good at it. Because on the ball, he just kind of rolls into their team, gives the enemy team a bit of ult charge, then rolls away. Like, if you look at the side of G-Force, you see Strider just absolutely dominate on the ball. And SCL, I can tell he wants to replicate that, but he just doesn't have the confidence that he wants to have on the Wrecking Ball.
I definitely have to agree to that. They are able to kind of move over on the streets phase, just being able to pump in that damage. That slam goes down, helping, but not enough. Neat still gets traded, stuck inside the air. Now the rest of the team on the bridge are being collapsed on. Hirsch having to just drop down to be able to survive, but there's not much left for the rest of the team as they're stuck being poked, and even Squeal, who is moving that payload, has to come back just to help.
Yeah, USC doing a really good job, just making sure no one really dies there, just really keeping each other topped up, staying on that high ground. We're gonna see it here again. They're all just kind of sitting on the high ground. DPS are taking the nice little off angle. Thunder just doing his thing. But looks like the Northeastern, they're just gonna keep kind of like slowly moving this cart forward.
It's just nothing that they have to worry about. As much as that payload can move, the team can't. That rally built incredibly fast. Now they're pushing into side of Hirsch, who trying their best to live. Timid being able to build up that rally just fast enough just to help sustain that little group that they have. But out of that, everyone else is dying, and it's really showing. The rally doesn't get too much value besides from just saving them from resetting quickly.
Yeah, and it's very unfortunate that we got to see a nice boop from SLC, knocking the Ana off the high ground. But unfortunately, his team just seemed like they weren't really prepared to follow up on it. He got a nice boop, like there's another nice boop, but unfortunately his team's just not in position.
We see the Gravitic Flux come out, hoping to make that opening, but it's canceled! They're not able to slam down, and with that Nano being on to Tsunami, they're able to move forward. I don't even know where the Bob went. I'm guessing Bob just decided to stay inside that little hut, poke them whenever they went, and they're not really able to get much. This is getting worrying. Hirsch now feeling forced to go onto that Diva, maybe to help.
Yeah, and unfortunately there was a nice little Tracer 1v1 on the point between Thunder and Woe. Thunder winning it with a little bit of tactical crouching afterwards. But we're going to be seeing a nice little scrim coming out here again.
It is a bit more upsetting to see Needs pick up on that Ash. It's been definitely not one of the better ones to get, and while that bomb almost catches out Hop, they do force out the Transcendence. Now the Bob's on point. It is trying to help, but that TK bomb says otherwise. With the copy being gone, so does the Bob. Now they're being able to push forward, though the rest of Northeastern, they don't have much inside their own pocket. Even that rally being used last second to help take Hirsch, who's barely able to escape back on top of the high ground, but is in the enemy's backline. So at least with this minute, they're going to be able to build up some more ultimates. You're going to be able to bring it back. And while this monkey is fighting the Wrecking Ball, they just go back. They want to stagger this Diva as much as possible. Sure, they're trying to let this C9 happen, but it's more of just a bait. You push that payload in, then you try to focus someone out. Tsunami's the one who gets traded, and they have to touch that point, and it seems it's going to be Abstract. This is now where Thomas really aren't worrying too much. They're going to regroup back as a team. Timid's a little bit too far. They use the Nano onto Abstract to give a bit more sustain, and they're staying on this payload, not leaving it up for a second while the monkey returns. And look at that. The Brigida's looking just like the MVP, being able to get that 2K and push forward. Now in these 30 seconds, it's only going to get increasingly hard. Abstract's mech being gone may kind of add on to that difficulty, at least for the side of Thomas, but it's still how you're going to be able to really deny them from pushing in. It's one last fight, and it's going to be an ult spree. However, with Dan Twist being picked off early, it's going to make that difference as the fight just continues on one after another. That Mine's going to be splitting the support line off. They're pushing that payload. The Diva just barely able to touch. They find out G-Hop, but it's not looking good as Tsunami is not going to be looking that great. They immediately move out. And Dan Twist just comes back, dies. That's how you lose the full hold you were promising.
Yeah, and unfortunately, not unfortunately, but fortunately, Northeastern doing a really good job actually winning that point. They're keeping their hopes just a little bit more alive. It just seems like they're just kind of struggling, like, on their last little straws they have. Because, like, they're just now tying the time that Northeastern finished with.
They at least build themselves up a couple more ultimates, and, well, I guess Northeastern had the better idea to kind of build up more than that. It's still less of a timing that you're going to be able to capture that third point with, but at least you secure yourself the ability to move forward. Now, with this fight happening so early, they throw that bomb into them. It seems Dub doesn't manage to hide behind the Brigida. just to be able to live, so they lose out on their Ana, who's coming close on that Nano. Same with Thunder, who is having that 1v1. Now this is where we see them come out, taking over onto the copy. Reeds isn't really able to get too much, still putting in that poke damage, but this is where both bombs go. It just seems that Abstract goes a little bit too far as Dan Twist gets caught out. Dub is with the Nano, looking to just pick off anyone that they can, but the payload's really not going to be contested, and it seems that they are freely going to be able to push through the streets phase, similar to how Thomas took it, but a little bit more faster.
Sorry, I'm trying to look around this map right now because I'm confused. Who is this blue team? Because this is not the Northeastern we've been seeing these past few maps. They are currently just dominating over UST, and I have to say I'm very impressed with how much they're turning this game around.
I definitely have to agree. They've been looking absolutely good. And while Thunder does miss that pulse bomb, Squeal does get picked out inside the enemy's backlines after using that mines. Most of it got stuck on top of the high ground. Well, it was like 2 pieces, so it's really not that much of most. The fight, though, is going to be taking on to the point. Even without their wrecking ball, they're going to be able to still take this. It's all up to see if Tsunami is eager enough to try and fight it down. Though Neats is in the sky, looking to build up this copy. It's a slow poke. They managed to do a combo, take out Thunder, and this is where we see the rest of Thomas wanting to do as much as they can to put this in their favor. Using that Primal Rage, wanting to take out Hop before that Transcendence is built, but able to get it in the last seconds. Still trying to boop, and that bomb going as far as possible. They're basically fine as the Brigade is able to use their shield. It does break, but it's gone. Hirsch gets traded out, not going to be able to get back inside their mech as that monkey just has to jump back onto the high ground. The feels fine. Dan able to use that high noon, more of just focusing them out in the copy onto the Diva, making this a bit more fair. Both of these Brigidas want to use those rallies to kind of keep this up, and it seems that Neats is going to be able to pop it, but not throw it. Basically just get themselves another mech opportunity. However, the issue comes is that they've lost Timid. They've now are slowly retreating, even if Squeal wants to push forward. They may have built ults, but they did not win that fight.
Yeah, I definitely want to say, as I was previously stating about how whoever starts the fight wins the fight. And definitely with the side of UST, they're starting with that Primal Nano that just really helped them turn the fight. Basically, as I've been saying, like a broken record player, whoever starts the fights in this game wins the fight.
You're definitely right on that. We see this bomb from Abstract going out, wanting to pick off anyone early, and he gets Hop! Abstract does get traded, not going to be able to go back into the payload, but Hirsch is the one who's not going to be finding as well. It just seems the rest of Northeastern, they have to just reset once more. Squeal is on top of this high ground, has the opportunity just to be able to touch this payload, but wants to try to focus out Tsunami as much as possible.
Yeah, and unfortunately, SCL getting really low there. He is actually going to be able to roll into spawn and just to heal up and get back to the point in time. But this is literally going to come down to who wants to start this fight. Looks like SCL is kind of thinking about starting the fight. There's the fighting gauge.
And look, they started the fight. The pulse bomb from Thunduck is going to be eaten while the Transcendence is able to keep them up. The High Noon looking to take anybody out, but it seems that Tim's the one who's going to be traded. That Dragon's going a little bit more inspirational, is splitting them up. Find out Tsunami who jumps into it. And manages to help find Thunder, making this a more even fight, especially with the respawns being in their favor. There's not much to worry about. We see them now just kind of contesting this payload for a tiny bit. They let it move a little bit further until Abstract is able to go down, but the slam now there. They're able to put pressure onto Squeal while Hirsch is going to be losing that mech. The Reinhardt, they're going to be able to get that charge, but it's just as scrapes the eggshells of the mech. We see the spin to win, but no one on the team able to spin with that wrecking ball. It just seems Squeal is just not able to do anything to help give them that time and space. Though, whoa, able to get to 2K, it's just a single tracer, and you're no SBB. Even SBB isn't an SBB anymore, as we see UST Thomas able to win 3-1.
Yeah, I definitely have to say, like, I did predict the 3-1, so of course, you know, more prediction points for me. We were going to see Timid on the Brigida getting the play of the game. Not very often you see Brigidas get play of the game anymore.
Absolutely false news. If a Brig is in a fight, a Brig will get that play of the game. Just look at this high-intensive mechanical gameplay. I mean, Brig is I think, a very mechanical depending character, especially when you're focusing on position. Don't laugh at me, alright? Especially when it comes to positioning.
I'm laughing as you're saying the high-octane gameplay, and we're just watching 90% of that clip was Brigida just beating the crap out of a box.
Yeah, it was high-intensive gameplay. But it was really good gameplay, to say the least. Unfortunately, we are going to be seeing one team go home today, which definitely hurts to say. But Thomas bringing the victory. We are going to be coming back after a quick break. We're basically just going to be bringing in that MVP, or that's a joke. We're not going anywhere, most likely, because we want to sit here. And who do you think? Oh, there are so many good players and the possibilities. And I don't want you to cheat. I don't want you to go down to the Twitch chat, scroll into the summary, and then look at the list of the players after you pick your vote of who the MVP is. I want to know, who do you think kind of more deserves it?
All right, to prove I'm not cheating, I'm going to be looking away from my monitor.
This guy.
All right. So both teams were really good. USG obviously won, so of course they were the better team. They did win 3-1.
Yep.
Honestly, I really want to say that maybe Abstract is going to get MVP because I've been hyping him up all game, and if chat likes to follow what someone says, he's probably going to get it. But I do also want to say that Neats on the side of Northeastern did really, really good on the May. Honestly, he really helped them win that King's Row map. So I would say it would come down to Neats or Abstract.
Mm. You know, at least for me, I definitely have to agree. I think Abstract or Tsunami, personally for me, I think a little more on the side of Abstract, but I think those two absolutely just continue to shine throughout the entirety of the game. They were by far some of my favorite players to see and kind of thrive on as they continued. So, well, it's pretty nice to see the possibility of who's going to be able to kind of come in and we get to sit down and talk to. Well, I gotta say, I also love the feature. We could basically bring in the losers, and then that's always like I think the worst feeling. You come in after an interview on a loss, you gotta explain what happened. Like, oh, sorry guys.
Yeah, it's definitely one of those. It really sucks to have to bring them in, and you're like, "Hey, congratulations on your loss. Tell us what went wrong."
Always that mixed feeling kind of scenario. It's definitely happened, and sometimes you get that awkward face where it's like, "You guys brought me in. Like, thank you for calling me great, but you know that." Nonetheless, we are going to be bringing the MVP in a quick second, as you can tell, because of our quick, beautiful vests. More than anything, guys, we all knew. We were hyping them up the whole game. We were giving them so much love and credit because they had an absolute amazing performance. I'd like to welcome Abstract, the off-tech who was able to do so much. How are you doing, as you are the MVP?
Yo, what's going on, fellas? How are you?
We're doing pretty good. We're doing pretty good. There was a nice 3-1 victory you had. How does it feel being on the winner side? Oh, even turns his camera on. Hell yeah!
Yeah. See, I got my crew with me. Yeah, no, it feels pretty good. You know, we worked pretty hard for this. We've been preparing in scrims, and it's happy to see that it paid off. So, pretty nice.
I'll start out with the questions, and obviously you guys being knocked down into the losers bracket, how does it feel to know that your chances are still increasing and you're going to be able to kind of go up, fight another team, and hopefully make it back into playoffs?
Yeah, it's relieving. It really is. You know, it was really sad and disappointing when we lost first match, but the fact that we won, we're still in it. You know, we're happy. So any chance that we get, we're gonna take it. We're gonna keep fighting. We're not giving up. You know what I'm saying? We got this.
That's what I like to hear. And as I'm looking forward, you guys are going to be playing the winner of Celestial Sky versus Cracked Cats. Now, out of those two teams, which one would you guys feel more comfortable going up against, seeing as they're both really good teams in this composition?
I would actually disagree. I don't think they're really good teams. I think either or we beat them. So I'm not really worried about the outcome of that game. We're very confident going into that. So whatever happens, happens. We'll take them.
Their match is right after this kind of interview. So are you guys going to like focus really hard on them, or are you just really confident like, nope, we've got this, we'll just scrim?
I don't know, maybe we might celebrate after this. We might watch the match, might do some homework. We don't know yet. So
I definitely have to say I'm enjoying the hype man behind you. Who's that guy? Who's that nice fellow?
Yeah, this is my DPS. What were you Thunder? That's the tracer. Yeah.
Oh
that's my body there.
Definitely showing the energy that they had. Come a good and lasting question.
No, I'm afraid I don't have any more questions.
Well, you have any shout outs?
I enjoy your hype squad.
I definitely agree. You have any love or shout outs that you kind of want to give?
Yeah, I'd like to shout out my boy Nick Flannery, because I know he's watching this. Holding it down for me. Yeah, whatever he's got to say.
Yeah, but, you know, basically you're free to go. We thank you so much for tuning in, and we hope to see you guys next time.
All right, sounds good. See you guys.
My goodness.
That was the most hype man I've ever seen in an
That's what
entire
you call
game
a
of
hype man. That's a
Overwatch.
capital H hype man. It caught me off guard, but I guess that's a way that you truly bring in that energy. It was still an amazing match, and I've got to say, I'm hoping that this next one is going to be there. But do you have any lasting comments before I take us out of here?
Definitely want to say that this bracket is definitely going to be winding down to the wire. There's just so many good teams left, especially with the US team moving on, and with their confidence that they're not scared of the winner of Celestial Sky and Cracked Cats, means that if they win that, they're going to be moving on to the loser of Bear Claw and G-Force. And between those two teams, who do you think UST is going to be going up against?
You know, I want to give a side, but I think it's just more important that you stay tuned in, because we will be back with that match to be able to get not only who I think will win, but who you think will win, and be able to vote in your MP. Stay tuned, as we'll be right back with the next match.